All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the inaugural, the first ever, the debut, the pilot, or whatever you want to call it, of the PWF, and I'm going to call it the PWF Breakdown Podcast. If someone wants to change the name later on, go right ahead. That's just something I came up with right off the bat. And so, our first guest, we have Mr. Justin Bulldog Walker.
Hey,
Would you
hey,
like
hey.
to? Would you like to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
I'm a wrestler. Nah, I started 20 something years ago, almost 24 years now, I think it is. Uh, was lucky enough to find a wrestling school. Actually, I was approached by a wrestler because I was bouncing at the time. And I threw a big guy out, and this other big guy came up and asked me, "You ever thought about being a wrestler?" And I was like, since I was knee high to a June bug, that was my exact answer to him. So I went and tried out for the school, and went into it. And I was an older guy. I was in my early 30s when I started. So that's 20 something years ago. So do the math. You know, went in without thinking I'm going to make it anywhere, do anything. I set some goals to myself, and since then, done more than I ever thought I would. Been lucky in some aspects and unlucky in others. You know,
Makes sense. Okay, so I would like to touch on that. So you said you started when you were in your 30s.
yes, sir.
So how was that coming in your 30s, and some of these kids were probably in their late teens, early 20s?
Yeah, well, I was always in good shape. I mean, I always worked out and always, I played football, and then I got into MMA, and I was in the army and all that kind of stuff. So I've always been in relatively decent shape compared to a lot of people, I guess. And so getting in there, I didn't phase me one bit. I've always kind of been an athlete per se. And when I started training, it uh, I kind of caught on to everything really quick. I started out, my initial teacher was a guy by the name of Tank Tyler. God rest his soul, he's passed on. And one thing led to another, and another guy took over, and Bobby Danson was his name, Top Gun Jag. And Little Bubba is what his nickname was. I was getting frustrated one night talking about all that, and he came up and smacked me in the side of the face because it was a different time, different era. But nowadays you do that, and no, you can't do that. But he smacked me and he told me to quit being such a, we'll say a witch, but start with a B. And there is nothing you can't do. So if I tell you to do something, just do it. You think too much. That led to that, and been going ever since.
And then okay, so you said so where did you train at, and then when you did, how difficult was it?
I went to Texas All Star Wrestling School up in Humboldt, Texas. Bob Murphy's the owner. Shout out, go Bob. He's still running shows and still going strong. One of the best promoters in the state. Uh, uh, what was the second part of that?
And how difficult was it?
Oh,
Because me
I loved
personally,
it.
I've
I loved it. I loved bumping, falling, whatever you want to call it. I love the physicality because, like I said, I'd done all kinds of stuff like that. So, yeah, the initial, you're going to get bumped and bruised, and by hitting the ropes and hitting the mat. I say mat. Everybody thinks the ring's so soft. It's not.
yep,
I loved it.
makes sense. Okay, so when did you make your debut?
97.
Ninety seven.
I think it was January '97 is when it was. It was I forget which one it was. It was the Humble Rumble when they were still having shows at the Texas Bingo Hall, and there was like 1,000 people there. I was in the Battle Royal. It was a 2-ring Battle Royal when we got in, and then my first singles match was a month later down in Texas City. I wrestled Point Blank Randy Snyder. I can remember it.
And then so going back to you taking a bump and stuff, and when people say that the mat is soft,
Uh huh.
how how do you feel when the public doesn't really understand the risks and the dangers of the job and still think that it's all fake?
I I've had many people over the years. I tell them get in the ring. You know, all I tell them just fall one time because you can't say bump. They don't know what the hell you're talking about. You know, unless you're a fan, and if you're a fan, then you appreciate it. But most of the people that come across with the type of I'll say attitude that you were saying, which I have had. I at a show I had it was funny. There was a college fraternity bought a show. I'll give you a for instance. A&M University was the college, and there was two guys that was kind of bahan and blah blah and all that kind of horse crap, right? And during the intermission, I said, "Jump up in the ring." I said, "You two look like you're in good shape. Y'all want to go play wrestler? Get in the ring. Show me how fake it is." They got in there and they lasted about 2 minutes. They come out panting and puffing and holding their shoulders and their back and everything else. I said, pretty fake, ain't it? And they're like, no, we got a whole new respect, So that I look at it like this. I don't get mad at people because it's ignorance. They don't know, And I'll put it like this, and I'm not trying to get political because I don't talk politics, but would I down somebody for somebody's political views if I didn't understand them? Same thing with wrestling. You don't understand wrestling. Why would you put it down? I can't knock it. So that's that.
Oh, 100%. I completely agree with you there. Okay, and now we're going to start to get into things like this. So, as a performer, as a professional wrestler, do you prefer working as a heel or a babyface?
Well, to be honest, heel is so much fun because you can do things that you can't normally do in real life, or at least you shouldn't do. Because I mean, think about it. If you tell somebody they're stupid, is walking in the grocery aisle, they're going to look at you and probably cuss you out, if not try to smack you or something. Wrestling, you can tell everybody they're stupid and get away with it, but then they tell you you're stupid back. Well, so it's fun being a heel. It's a lot of fun. As a baby, you sell more merchandise, because everybody likes the baby.
Yeah.
So
Okay, and so the second part to that, which is easier to get over?
it shouldn't matter. If you're good at what you do, you get either one of them over. Plain and simple. I've been doing it long enough. I can get either one of them. If I go to a new promotion, if they say, "Well, what do you prefer, working baby or heel?" I do what's best for the promotion. Because I'm confident I can do the one.
Makes sense. And then so okay, so have you ever worked a dead crowd?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because let's see, it's kind of like this: is if you're the opening match, the crowd's usually dead. That means you have to warm them up. If you come out second and the opening match didn't warm the crowd up, they're kind of probably going to be dead. So you have to warm them up. And it's just interaction. Crowd interaction is what it's all about. People want to be entertained. You can tell when you're standing there watching, peeking through the curtain. You can tell the crowd when they're itching at just wanting somebody to come out. Usually a heel come out and start just barking at them and yelling and screaming and all that. And then they start feeding off of it. And then the big baby comes out, yay, and then they feed off that. I mean, it's easy. It's not hard.
Okay, and what is it like working a dead crowd?
I don't know. I've always got them going. I couldn't tell you. I mean, I'm not saying I'm all that. I mean, yeah, I've worked crowds where the whole crowd wasn't into it because they all weren't wrestling fans. That was like half of them were like, "Hey, let's go check this out," and the other half was like, "Yeah, this is gonna be badass." So I've worked it to where the whole crowd wasn't into a match, and you just do what you can. I mean, you got to look at it like this. If you go out and you give 100% and you do everything right, and the guy that you're working does the same thing, that's all you can ask for.
I like that answer because okay, and so here's another one. What is the best advice you have ever gotten?
Was first when I stepped in for my very first day of training, and I tell this to the kids I'm training now: keep your mouth shut and your ears open, because you can learn so much just listening. It's the people that want to sit there and say, but. No, we're not asking you to say something. Just listen. For my first 4, 5, 6 years in a business, I'd go into a locker room, pull a chair up, sit up against the wall, and just listen. Because all the vets, it was a different time than it is now. I would listen to the vets. I would survey the room, because you can learn a lot about people in general in real life if you just watch people, you know, but in wrestling especially.
Okay. I've because every time I ask that question, they don't ever give me the answer you gave me.
What do you usually
So
get? I'm just curious.
they usually just brush the question off,
No, I'm
like they'd never been given advice.
yeah, no, that's the best advice. And then what I normally do, if after every match, I usually will ask the referee, "How do you think the match went?" I don't ask how did I do. I don't ask how did my fancy move go, or moves. I ask how did the match go. I take advice from the ref. I've come up to you after a show and asked you, how did my match go? Because you can get all types of perspectives. Somebody that's sitting out like yourself who's watching it, you'll look at it different than the referee will, who look at it different than the guy in the front row, who look at it different than, everybody goes and asks their family, "Hey, did you like my match?" Or they'll normally say, "Hey, did you see my cool move?" It's not about a move, it's about the match. If you get the guy over you're working and you get the match over, that's all you can ask for. You know, I'm getting off on a tangent, so I'll shut up.
Because and I'll circle back around to that, and because you have given me some good advice too.
Huh? I try.
When you told me that everybody has a role to play.
Absolutely, absolutely. From the trainees up to everybody that's on the show. Trainees help, before and after the show. You, as an announcer, you help get the boys over or girls. You help get the show over. To the referees, who is a third or fifth person in the ring. Everybody does. The announcer, the sound guy, security, everybody. So
And then so here's a question I don't think I've ever heard anyone ask, which I could be wrong, but me personally, I've never heard. What are some moves you won't sell for fear of being injured?
in other words, wait, you're asking would I not sell or would I not take? Because there's a difference.
Okay, so let's make it a double question. So let's start with the first one. What moves would you never sell for fear of being injured?
Well, if I'm taking a move, I'd have to sell it. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. I got
Yeah.
you. It's just when I came up with this question because this is
Um,
one of those things where it could have been a double question, and maybe there's a move that you won't sell because for fear that you'll get hurt.
no, it I wouldn't say there's a move I wouldn't, but there might be a move from taking it from somebody, because there's a difference. Because I'll give you, for instance, me and my old tag partner years ago, we were doing an outside show, and one of our opponents, and I won't say his name because he's still around, said, "Hey, how about if I take a table and I set it up and I jump off the moving van, which they brought the ring in, and splash you, through the table?" I said, "No." And then he asked my partner, and my partner said, "Well, sure, I'll take it." I said, "No, he won't." I said, "Let me ask you." I said, "How about let's switch it around? How about I do that to you?" And he said, "Oh, hell no." I said, "Exactly." Because the way he was wanting to do it was unsafe and everything. And, you know, I'm up for almost anything if it makes sense for the match. If it's doing a move just to do a move, that's not good psychology, and I won't do that. Oh, hell, what was that?
Was that you barking? I mean, I
No,
know
that
your
was
neighbor.
not me. No, 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 no. But yeah, no, I very rarely have ever not turned, not done a move, you know.
Okay.
And if somebody's not comfortable taking a move from me because they may not know me, because this goes the other way, where you're asking me would I do, that I've never had anybody tell me no, I wouldn't take a move from me. I did. I had one guy, and I told him, well, if you ain't got the balls to take it, then fine. I said, we'll just go around out there and kind of shove each other and grab a wrist lock, and that's that. And he's like, well, what are you saying? I said, I'm the one saying you ain't got no balls. You don't want to take it, that's fine. Well, he ended up taking it, finding out, oh heck, it's okay, So
Okay. So let's circle back around to the trainees.
sure.
Is there anyone that is in the middle of training right now that you see being the next superstar?
I see some of the trainees. I see a couple of them. It's got a lot of potential. Are you? If you're meaning superstar like in for PWF or for Texas or whatever, there's a couple of them's got a lot of potential. You know, uh, they're so early in their training. That they still have to figure it all out. I mean, when you're training, you're always told to do this, do that, stand this way, turn this way, and one day a light should go off, and it all makes sense, and you go, "Oh crap, that's what all they mean." Sometimes the light don't go off for some guys. Yeah, we had a couple guys that look like they're should be good. One of them in particular has just tons of athleticism, and if you would have told me that when he started, I would have been like, okay, But no, and then we have another one who's got good size, and if he just pulls his head out of his butt half the time, he could do something good too. All of them have potential. It's just how bad do they want it?
Makes sense. So, out of every match you've had so far,
Uh huh.
which one has been your favorite?
Favorite? Uh, well, there's been a few. There's one in particular, and it just stands out because do you know Remedy? He used to wrestle as Cash, Big Yule. He's big old boy. He's like 6'6", 6'7".
I have not personally.
Well, he's a big guy, right? He trained at Row with Booker T and all them guys. And I've always taken a liking to him since that match. It was a three-way tag steel cage match, okay? And we were in the ring, and he was green. Green is go for crap, brand new to the business, been wrestling a year or two maybe. So he was very respectful. To this day, I would do anything for that guy. So in the middle of the match, we just beat him down, and we're working the crowd. And he looked up at me and goes, "Excuse me, sir, can I do my spot now?" And he won me over. After that, it was just it was a good match, and but yeah, that little interaction right there. I've loved that guy ever since. I would do anything for that guy. That guy's awesome.
And then here's I guess you could say this is like a two-part. What is a dream match for you?
Dream
What
match?
what is your dream match?
Well, there was I had a couple of them, but I'm an older guy, right? So I'm in my 50s. So I watched guys that a lot of them are no longer in the business. Like I would have loved to wrestle Vader. You know, Granted he's much bigger than me, but that would have been fun. I'd love to him just bump my ass all over the place. God rest him, Brody Lee. That would have been fun. Luke Harper. That would have been awesome. I would have had a lot of fun with that. Uh, Bruiser Brody. I would have loved for that guy just to kick the crap out of me. That would have been just I'd have been walking around with a you know what the whole night that we went out there and did it. And I mean guys like that. I mean guys I grew up watching and just wild men back in the day And that's kind of what Luke Harper reminded me of, just a wild SOB. That's kind of like I kind of do my guy, my character, my persona after, guys like that just they just enthrall you. They trap you into what they're doing. You're waiting to see what they're going to do next, and that's the fun part. Yeah, but guys like that. I was able to wrestle Kamala. That was fun. One man gang guys like that. That was fun. Black Bart. He punched me a few times in the head, tested me, and I punched him back, and then we were best friends after that. So
Okay, and then to wrap it all up, because
okay.
we are about out of time here. What would you like to say to your opponent for the next show?
Well, actually, there's a couple guys. There's oh heck, what's his name? Chris. The that little craphead wants to come out and start rooting around in this old dog's ring when I'm out there talking about the change and I'm old and need to step aside and so forth. Well, this old dog ain't dead, and he wants to challenge me, and I accepted it. I told him to bring his scrawny little butt down to the ring, and I'll be more than happy to, put my size 13 in his ass. But what's he do? He decides to one of his little followers, Mason Malice. So now Mason gets to get his ass tore up. So come January 16th at the Premier Arena, I got to teach this kid a couple lessons. There's a lot you haven't seen me do, and I'm talking about you, Mr. Jared Burns, and a lot of the crowd hasn't seen me do. Well, Mason's going to see it. I'm going to tear his ass up, and I'm going to show Mr. Chris what the change is. He's going to have to change Mason Malice's drawers because that kid's going to crap him. All you people be there. January 16th, 2021, you get to see the change of Mason Malice's drawers at the Premier Arena.
That's a great way to put it. So, to wrap it up, thank you, Mr. Bulldog, for your time on this beautiful Tuesday evening.
Absolutely.
And like the man said, be there January 16th at the Premier Arena. Pretty sure that is a match you guys ain't going to want to miss.
No. Mr. Malice will want to, but be there 7 o'clock.
I'll be there front row.
Yes, sir.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first PWF Breakdown podcast with Mr. Bulldog. Take care, everybody.
Appreciate it.